heart of mine will always and forever belong to you. You and me were meant to be as one. The universe has known it all along. Maybe this is where our story starts. Maybe it was written in the stars. Written in the stars. You won't be forever, yeah, yeah. You won't be written in the stars. You won't be forever, yeah, yeah. You won't be.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to be sharing with you 10 things that I wish I knew before I became a mum. Now, recently I've noticed that there's a lot of kind of mum shaming going on online, and a lot of people don't quite realise what it's actually like to be a mum. And I think most videos of people explaining their experiences are a little bit watered down and kind of whitewashed, and it doesn't really give a full and accurate picture of how us mums feel, especially single mums. I can only speak from my own perspective, but I just hope that sharing this will help a few other people realise that how they feel is not abnormal. Many mums feel like this, and it is totally fine to be a real mum, like to express yourself in a real way, not to sugarcoat things and act like everything's perfect, but to share real experiences. So that is what I'm going to do in today's video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be uploading a few other types of videos like this in the coming weeks. So subscribe, join the family, and let's get straight into the video. So the first thing is, nothing really changes. Now, you're probably thinking, what? Like, you're going to have a baby and everything's going to change. Of course, your lifestyle, your routines, they change. But you as a person, you don't really change that much. And I know many people give off this impression that like you give birth to a baby and suddenly you become Mother Nature and your only focus is your child and you can't seem to do anything else, which is not really true. Of course, you have new added aspirations, hopes and dreams for your child and your family, but your own personal aspirations and career aspirations will still be there. You will still want to have your own me time and socialise with friends and do things that you did before you became a mum. And that is perfectly fine and normal. Most mums feel like this, especially once the newborn phase is over and you've kind of settled into motherhood and you start realising that you have lost out on a lot of your social life and other things that you were able to do before you became a mum. Number 2, breastfeeding. Now, I found breastfeeding to be about the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. It was a beautiful bonding experience with my daughter, but it is very, very demanding. And as a single mum, it is a lot to take on to commit to breastfeeding long term. I breastfed for around 3 months, and for that 3 months, it was very intense. Now, breastfeeding means that you feed on demand. So as opposed to bottle feeding, where you would feed the child every 2 to 4 hours, depending on how old they are. With on-demand feeding, you can find yourself feeding your child multiple times within 1 hour or multiple times throughout the night and constantly. And it gets to a point where you may feel like you are literally just a feeding machine, just like a little cow, just constantly feeding this little baby. And it does feel like they kind of take over your life with the whole feeding schedule. Now, if you find breastfeeding difficult, you will probably have joined many mums groups or groups on social media to try and get some motivation from other mums, which is great. And I strongly recommend that you do join breastfeeding groups and kind of create your own little community, because it's going to be very, 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 very difficult. And if you don't find it difficult, then that's great. And I hope that you continue your breastfeeding journey with your baby. But if you do find it difficult, definitely don't beat yourself up. I know there's a lot of articles out there that say, you know, breastfeeding is best, and it is best for your baby, but it's also best for your baby for them to have a mum that's in the best frame of mind and that is able to care for them in the best way possible. As long as your baby is fed and happy, then they will grow healthily. So don't beat yourself up if breastfeeding does not work out for you. Number 3 is perfect parents. Now, you will come across these perfect parents everywhere you go, whether it's at mums groups, on the bus, in the supermarket, online in mums groups, you will find these perfect parents everywhere. And if you pay too much attention to these perfect parents, you will genuinely feel bad about yourself. Now, one thing I will tell you about these perfect parents is nobody is a perfect parent, not one single person. And many people that portray that whole perfect lifestyle, they really don't live it. And once you have a child, you'll know that there's no way that every single day can be plain sailing and happy and beautiful as a parent. There are going to be days where your house is a mess, where you're tired, where you have 1,000,001 things to do, and being a parent is going to be very, very challenging. And that's okay, that's normal, and that is fine. And these perfect parents will make you feel like if your house is not in order, if your kids are not fully dressed from head to toe constantly, then that's something is wrong with you. That is a lie. You will have days where your kid will run around your house naked, you will have dishes everywhere, you'll have work to do, and you will feel like everything has got on top of you, and that is normal. It's totally normal, so don't let anybody try and tell you that it's not. 4, overcompensating. Now, as a single parent, I find myself overcompensating very frequently. I feel like sometimes I have to do more because to make up for the fact that my daughter doesn't have both parents in the household. Now, obviously this is an occurrence that happens for very many different reasons. Parents end up being single parents for, a variety of different reasons. And when you do become the sole carer of a child, there is some guilt that comes with that because you feel like they may be missing out on the two-parent dynamic. Now, overcompensating, as I said, is not a wrong thing to do, but it's important to remember that you can only do your best as a single parent. There's only so much you're going to be able to do as a single parent as far as providing additional luxuries and things like that for your child, and to be careful not to overcompensate too much because it can become a genuine problem. For myself, I recognised it as a problem when I realised that I was spending a lot more time focusing on what I could do to make her happy than I was focusing on what I could do to secure a stable future for us. So you can end up spending a lot of money on doing things that are really unnecessary just to kind of prove to yourself that you can provide all these things for your child single-handedly. Now, of course, children need many things and you will be constantly buying things regardless, and your whole financial direction of where your money is going will be your child. So overcompensating can put you in quite a difficult position if you are a single income household. I think personally my biggest overcompensation was a trip to Disneyland that we took for my daughter's birthday. I really wanted it to be special for her and for her to have that same experience that other children can have whilst they have a two-parent household income. Now, the trip itself didn't break the bank for me personally, but I know that if other people were to try and do the same things that I did in that same overcompensating manner, it could lead them to have some serious financial problems. So overcompensating is definitely something that you should try to keep to a minimum and make sure that you're doing things within your financial budgets and within your own personal judgment of what you think is appropriate for your child. Number 5 is do what you think is best for your baby. Now, once you give birth to a baby, you are going to have 1,000,001 people giving you advice and telling you either how they did it or how they think that you should be doing it. And in all honesty, only you know your baby, and you will know quite quickly what is best for your child. Within the first few weeks, you will get to know your baby better than anybody else. So you don't have to always take every last piece of advice. It's a mother's choice and a mother's job to learn what is best for herself and for her baby and to go forward doing what's best for them. What's right for you is not going to be right for everybody else, and vice versa. So take every piece of information with a pinch of salt and just kind of incorporate it into your own parenting styles and your own lifestyle styles and your own lifestyle to really kind of focus it in and make sure that it's working for you rather than you just following things that you think are right instead of just doing what's best for you. Number 6, newborn spending. Now, if you're a first-time mum watching this video, you will probably relate to this very much, that you just don't seem to know when is enough. So you may have a stockpile of baby clothes, millions of blankets, all different types of gadgets and things that people have recommended to you. And I can say that you probably won't use much of them, if I'm honest. It's very easy for a first-time mum or somebody that's not around babies very much to kind of get lost in the sauce of all these newborn items and gadgets out there, and all the designer baby clothes and all these cute little things that you can acquire for your child. But I will say that most of them is just a waste of money. If you are gonna, be kind of designer orientated and want to dress your baby in expensive clothes, then personally I'd say between the ages of 0 and 12 months is the best time to buy all your designers before they start eating, messy foods and making an absolute mess of all their clothes. That's the best time to put them in these sort of flashy types of outfits. But the downside to dressing them like this within those first few months is that they just grow so quickly that before you know it, they've only worn an outfit once or twice before they've completely grown out of it and you have no use for it anymore. So you'll probably find that just sticking to cheaper baby clothes and things within your own budget is the best choice to do, because you're going to be throwing those clothes out before you know it. Number 7 is feelings of loneliness and loss of personality. Now, if you are one of the first people within your friendship group or family to have a baby, then you'll realise that after you've had a baby, not many of those people have a lot to relate with you anymore. So I was one of the first people in my friendship circle to have a baby. Luckily for me, one of my other friends was pregnant at the same time, so I did have somebody to share my experiences with, but it is very difficult. I mean, for the first year of having my child, that friend that was pregnant around the same time as me was practically my only friend. They were the only person that I would meet up frequently with or talk on the phone with a lot, because she knew exactly what I was going through. She was in the same situation. We could kind of share our own little thoughts and experiences and parenting techniques and things with each other. And it was really helpful for us both to have that support. But if you don't have that, you will find that this can become an incredibly lonely time. As a single mom, I found it difficult. Just my pregnancy was difficult. And then on top of that, if you're having relationship problems, it can be very, very stressful. And I think people downplay the fact of how traumatic of an experience giving birth can be and how much it takes a toll on your body. And if you go through that by yourself as a single woman, it can be actually very traumatic and it can take a while to heal from that situation. My experience was quite difficult. I had a cesarean and I gave birth by myself. Obviously there were doctors there, but as far as personal support, I was alone. And it was a very, very scary time. And I was obviously so grateful that my daughter came into the world healthy and she was totally fine when she was born. But the experience of being alone was very traumatic for me. And I don't think I realised that until quite a few years afterwards, when the thought of being pregnant or having a baby comes up. It's not really a happy thought. It's more quite traumatizing and worrying, and the thought of having another child in the same situation or same circumstances as what I gave birth to my daughter in is a very daunting thought. And that is completely normal. If you had a traumatic birth or if you had a traumatic pregnancy, many people don't really want to have more children after that, and that is totally fine. It's very scary being in that situation, knowing that you are about to bring life into the world, but knowing that anything could go wrong at any point and you or your baby may not make it through the other end, okay? And that is a very, very normal fear to have. I don't know what number it is, I've lost count now. So you are going to probably deal with the pretense of other parents is number 9. So you are going to find so many celebrity parents, so many people on social media that are going to try and show you what their life is like as a mother or as a parent. And I can tell you now, like 99.9% of those people will not show you what real life is like. And that can really make you feel quite bad about yourself, because you can get to a point where you feel like you're doing so many things wrong, or so many other children have so many other things that your child may not be able to have, that it can literally just drive you crazy. Watching other parents, especially famous parents, is not how you're going to learn how to be a parent. It's really not. And I think it's quite dangerous really for those people to portray such a happy, simple life, because if you're a mum, you know that life is never happy and simple and as easy as these people make out it is. Of course it's not. There is going to be so many days where you feel like, you know, you're not doing the best job, or that you're not doing as much as you could be doing, and that is fine. You are not going to be a motivated, you know, on point, super duper mother every single day. It's not possible. There are going to be days if you don't feel well. There are going to be days if you just feel generally down, where you're not going to perform to your best, and that is fine. That is normal. As long as you're looking after your child, feeding them, loving them, making sure they're clean and happy, you've done your job. That is your job. That is all your job is, to make sure that your child is fed, happy and loved, and to make sure that you feel all of those things as well. And never forget about yourself in this situation. As a single mum, you can do a lot for your child and let yourself go quite easily. And I really urge, especially single mums, to make sure that you take that time out for yourself, to make sure that you can, you know, whether it's just to do your hair or just to go and have a walk by yourself, but make sure you take time for yourself, because there becomes a point where motherhood and your personality kind of merge and you kind of lose a sense of yourself, and that can lead to you feeling really down and bad about yourself. So make sure that you always take that time to look after yourself and be the best person that you can be, so that you can be the best parent that you can be, because no parent is going to be 100% effective if they're not looking after themselves or taking care of themselves properly. So that is it for the things that I wish I knew before I became a mum. If you have anything else that you wish you knew before you became a mum, please leave it down below in the comment section. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have got to say. If you thought this video was helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because I am here frequently sharing my thoughts with you guys, and I always love to hear what you have to say down in the comment section, and there I reply, so please leave a comment down below. Also, if you've just become a new mum, or if you are a mum and you've got a few kids or whatever, we have a t-shirt for you. On my website, railroadboutique.com, you can get this t-shirt for 20% off just from watching this video using the code MUM. So enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Heart of mine will always and forever belong to you. You and me were meant to be as one. The universe has known it all along. Maybe this is where our story starts. Maybe you